Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my channel Mathematical Room. So in our today's lecture we are going to take a quick review about the sets that we have already learned about the sets in our previous lecture. So in this lecture we are going to take some quick review and then complete our today's lecture about sets. So as we have learned about the definition of the set, that the collection of well-defined distinct objects is called sets. So we have learned about some kind of important sets in our previous lecture that I have already written in front of you. That first we have learned about the n for natural numbers. So natural numbers, the set of natural numbers as started with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up to so on. So n for natural, and that is the set of the natural numbers. The second set was W for whole numbers. So whole numbers, if you add 0 in natural number, so that will become as the whole numbers. So whole numbers always started with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to so on. And then we have learned about the integers denoted by z. So z integers are those numbers which are with positive and negative numbers and starting with 0. So 0 plus minus 1 plus minus 2 plus minus 3 plus minus 4 so on up to, these are all the integers. So n for natural numbers, W for whole numbers, Z for integers, E for even numbers. So even numbers are those numbers which can be divided with the table 2 and always started with 0. So 0 plus minus 2 plus minus 3 plus minus 4 plus minus 6 plus minus 8 so on up to. So these are called the even numbers. And then we have learned about the O for odd numbers. Odd numbers are those numbers which cannot be divided by 2, and these are also included with the positive and negative numbers. So odd numbers are starting with 0 plus minus 1 plus minus 3 plus minus 5 plus minus 7 plus minus 9 so on up to. So these are called the odd numbers. And then we have learned about the P for prime numbers. So prime numbers are those numbers which can be divided with the table 1 and on its own table. So that we can say that 2 is divisible by 1 and 2, 3 is divisible by 1 and 3, 5 is divisible by 1 and 5. So these are all the numbers which can be divided with the table 1 and on its own. So in other words, or in simple words, prime numbers are those numbers, these are just can be divided by 2 numbers. So 2 numbers are those numbers which is 1 and the number on its own. So these are some important sets that we have learned about them. And then today we are going to learn about the rational numbers. So rational numbers, the set of rational numbers are those numbers which can be divided into, which can be written into fractional form. So if I say that rational numbers are always denoted by Q, and these numbers can be written in the brief descriptive form that x, where as x is equals to m over n, and where m and n belongs to z and n always not equals to 0. So this is the form of the rational numbers where we can explain that what are the numbers, what are the rational numbers. So this form of the sets is called the descriptive form, where we can read this statement as x, where this line belongs to where x is equals to m over n. M over n means that rational numbers can be written in the fractional form. And where m and m belongs to z. Z means integers. So the rational numbers which can be written as m over n in fractional form, and where n will not be equal to 0, and m and n, these two numbers which can be written in fractional form, always belongs to integers, and n will not be equal to 0. So in fractional form, the denominator will not be equal to 0, and these numbers means rational numbers can be written in m over n form or fractional form. So rational numbers always denoted by q. So it means all those numbers which can be written in fractional form are called the rational numbers. So, and rational numbers always denoted with the letter q. So similarly, there are one type of numbers which are called irrational numbers. So irrational numbers, these irrational numbers can be denoted with q dash, which can be written as in the form of descriptive, that x, where x belongs to x not equals to m over n, and where m and n belongs to integers, and n always not equals to 0. So this is the form of irrational numbers. Irrational numbers are those numbers which cannot be written as fractional form or m over n form, where m and n always belongs to integers, and n not equals to 0. N not equals to 0 means the denominator will not be equal to 0. So these are the irrational numbers which can not be written in m over n form. M over n form means that m and n belongs to integers and cannot be written in m over n form. So we can say that the irrational numbers are those numbers which are not rational numbers. So if we take the example of rational and irrational numbers, so rational numbers can be written in 1, 2, 3, 2 over 5, 3 over 7. So these are the examples of rational numbers. So rational numbers, these can be written in the m over n form. You know that if any number can be written in simplest form, so always divided by 1. So it means 1 over 1, 2 over 1, 3 over 1, or we can say that 2 over 5, 3 over 7. So these are all rational numbers which can be written as m over n form, where m and n belongs to integers. So these are the examples of, these numbers are the examples of rational numbers. So if we take the examples of irrational numbers, so we can say that all those numbers which can be written in the under root form, that we can say that under root 2, under root 3, and under root 5, like these kind of numbers are the examples of irrational numbers. So irrational numbers, you can say that all the under root numbers are called the irrational numbers, except those numbers which are can be written in the complete square form, as we can say that if we say the under root 4 is equals to 2. So 4 under root means that if we take the under root of 4, that is equals to 2. So 4 is the complete square of the 2. So these kind of numbers cannot be the irrational numbers. These are called the rational numbers. So similarly, if we take the example of 9, so 9 under root means 3, or we can say that the 16 under root means 4. So these are the examples of rational numbers. These are not the irrational numbers. Irrational numbers be written in under root 2, under root 3, under root 5, so on up to. So these are the examples of rational and irrational numbers. So once again, I'm going to tell you about rational and irrational numbers. So if we see that, how can we write these rational numbers in the form of sets? So x, whereas x is equals to m over n, where m and n belongs to integers and n is not equal to 0. So these kind of numbers are called the rational numbers. And irrational numbers, those numbers that cannot be written as m over n form, where m and n belongs to integers and n not equals to 0. So n not equals to 0 is the common thing in both of these sets, in rational numbers and irrational numbers. So it means if we divide any number with 0, so the answer will become infinity. So that's why we cannot be written these sets with the denominator 0. So all the numbers with under root signs except the complete squares are called the irrational numbers. So the last type of sets is called the real numbers. So sets of real numbers is denoted by R, and we can say that all the irrational and rational numbers are called the real numbers, or we can say that Q union Q dash. So Q union Q dash, union is the term that we use in the sets, and that means if we add all the numbers, so these are called the real numbers. It means if we gather the rational numbers and irrational numbers, so these are called the real numbers. So we can say that the definition of real numbers, that all the rational numbers and irrational numbers are called real numbers. So if you remember that in our last lecture we have learned till prime numbers, and I've told you that we are going to learn about the rational and irrational numbers and real numbers in our next lecture. So our focus, today's lecture, we have focused on the rational numbers and irrational numbers and real numbers. So these are the types of rational numbers, irrational numbers, and real numbers. So and the one term we have used for the real numbers, that Q union, this U means union. So Q union Q dash, that Q is representing the rational numbers and Q dash is representing the irrational numbers. So if we add all the irrational and rational numbers, so these are called the real numbers. So in simple words, we can say that all the numbers are real numbers. So all the rational numbers and irrational numbers are called the real numbers. So these are some types of sets that normally we use in mathematics. So if we see that we have learned about the sets and some specific names that are given to the sets in front of you, that N for natural numbers, W for whole numbers, Z for integers, E for even numbers, O for odd numbers, P for prime numbers, Q for rational numbers, Q dash for irrational numbers, and R for real numbers. So these are the sets that we have to learn about them that what kind of numbers belongs to which kind of sets. So now in our next lecture, we are going to learn some specific terms that we use in sets. So hopefully you will understand that what are the sets and what kind of numbers can be denoted with the different kinds of sets. So inshallah, I will see you in my next video with some new topic which is related to the sets. So for the coming videos, you have to keep all these things in your mind. Then you will be able to learn about the different types of functions that we are going to learn in our coming lectures. So inshallah, I will see you in my next lecture. So don't forget to subscribe my channel that you can see these kind of important things in my coming videos. So inshallah, I will see you in my next lecture with some more informative things. तब तक के लिए इजाज़त दीजिए। खुदा हाफिज़।